Commander Kim stepped onto the observation deck of the Pioneer, Earth's most advanced diplomatic vessel. The blue-green planet of Lyria dominated the viewport, swirling with unfamiliar cloud patterns. After 3 years of long-distance communication, humanity was finally meeting the Lyrians face to face. "Nervous?" asked Captain Lee, joining him at the window. Kim straightened his uniform. "A little. It's not every day you become the first human to set foot on an alien world. That's why we chose you. Your record in first contact scenarios is unmatched." Kim nodded but remained silent. His previous assignments had involved newly discovered human colonies or primitive alien species. The Lyrians were different, a spacefaring civilization with technology that matched or exceeded Earth's in many areas. The shuttle ride to the surface was smooth. Kim watched the Lyrian cityscape emerge from beneath the clouds, tall, graceful structures that seemed to grow from the landscape rather than impose upon it. A small delegation waited at the landing pad. Kim immediately noticed their unusual height. The shortest Lyrian stood at least 7 feet tall. Their skin ranged from pale blue to deep purple, and they all had striking silver eyes that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. One Lyrian stepped forward. She wore an elaborate garment that reminded Kim of flowing water. "Commander Kim," she said in perfect English, "I am Director Mela. Welcome to Lyria." Kim bowed slightly. "Thank you for your hospitality, Director. The Earth Alliance is honored by this opportunity." "The honor is mutual," Mela replied. "Allow me to introduce your liaison, Nera. She is our foremost xenobiologist and has studied your transmitted data extensively." Nera stepped forward. Unlike the others, her skin was a lighter lavender shade, and her silver eyes had flecks of gold. She wore a simpler outfit than the director, but moved with the same fluid grace. "Commander," she said, her voice melodic, "I look forward to our collaboration." Over the next few weeks, Kim and Nera spent most days together. Their official task was to establish cultural exchange protocols, but their conversations often wandered into personal territory. "Your species puts such emphasis on individual achievement," Nara noted as they toured a Lyrian research facility. "In our society, the collective advancement of our people is paramount." "That doesn't mean we don't care about our communities," Kim replied. "We just express it differently." Nara led him into a laboratory filled with plants from both Earth and Lyria. "This is my personal project," she explained. "I'm studying how Earth flora might adapt to our environment." Kim watched as she gently touched a small tomato plant. "Are all Lyrian scientists?" "Most serve society through scientific or artistic pursuits," Nara said. "Our matriarchs believe knowledge and beauty are the highest callings." Kim noticed how her fingers were longer than a human's, with an extra joint that allowed exceptional dexterity. "Your hands are remarkable," he observed. Nara looked pleased. "And yours are fascinatingly robust." Without asking, she took his hand in hers. Her touch was warm, slightly warmer than a human's. "Human biology is remarkably adaptable," she observed, her silver eyes studying Kim's hands. "Your species evolved on just one world, yet you've managed to survive in space." Kim smiled. "We're stubborn that way." Their daily meetings became something Kim looked forward to. Nara was brilliant, curious, and possessed a dry humor that took him by surprise. She asked endless questions about Earth and seemed particularly interested in human social structures. "Your mating customs are complicated," she said one day as they shared a meal in the diplomatic quarters. Lyrian food was mostly vegetable-based and surprisingly compatible with human digestion. Kim nearly choked on his drink. "I suppose they are." On Lyria, partnerships are formed based on genetic compatibility and social contribution, Nara explained. "Romance exists, but it's not a prerequisite for reproduction. On Earth, it varies widely depending on culture," Kim said. "But most people prefer to choose their partners based on personal connection." Nara considered this. Inefficient, but intriguing. As weeks turned to months, Kim began to notice subtle changes in Nara's behavior. She stood closer to him than protocol required. Her hand occasionally brushed against his during their work. When they walked together, her pace matched his exactly. The diplomatic team noticed too. Kim's assistant, Officer Park, approached him after a meeting. "Sir, the team is concerned about your closeness with Nera." Kim frowned. "Is there a problem with our working relationship?" Park looked uncomfortable. "Not exactly, sir, but there are rumors among the Lyrians. They see your interactions as significant." Later that evening, Kim received a message from Director Mila requesting a private meeting. He found her in a garden atop the tallest building in the city. "Commander," she greeted him, "I hope you're finding your stay productive." "Very much so," Kim replied. "Nera has been an excellent guide." Mila nodded slowly. "I must inform you of something important about our society. Nera holds a special position among us. She is from one of our oldest lineages, what you might call royal blood. Her choice of companions reflects on all Lyrians." Kim felt a chill. "I wasn't aware." "It's not a problem," Mila interrupted. "In fact, it may be an opportunity. Our species has faced challenges with genetic diversity. Your friendship with Nera is viewed positively by many." On his way back to his quarters, Kim's mind raced. What had started as a diplomatic assignment had become something far more complex. He found himself thinking about Nera constantly, her graceful movements, her analytical mind, the way her silver eyes lit up when she discovered something new. The next day, Nera seemed different, more formal, almost distant. They'd worked in silence until midday. "Is something wrong?" Kim finally asked. Nera's eyes met his. "You spoke with Director Mila?" "Yes. Then you know my position in Lyrian society." Kim nodded. "She explained your importance." Nera sighed, a very human gesture she picked up from him. "There are things about my people you still don't understand, Commander. Things I need to tell you." Kim felt something shift between them. Whatever came next would change everything. Kim sat with Nera on a curved bench in the Lyrian Botanical Garden. 6 months had passed since his arrival on this alien world. The diplomatic mission had been extended twice already, officially to continue cultural exchanges, but Kim knew his growing relationship with Nera was a factor in Earth Alliance decisions. "Your hand temperature has increased by 2 degrees, Nera observed, her fingers intertwined with his. She could sense such changes naturally, without technology. Kim smiled. "That happens when I'm with you." Lyrian architecture favored open spaces and natural light. The garden dome allowed a perfect view of the twin moons, Sela and Mora, as they rose over the horizon, one silver, one with a pale blue tint. "Beautiful," Kim said, looking at the moons. "Yes," Nera agreed, but she was watching him instead. Their relationship had evolved gradually over the months. Cultural briefings had turned into personal conversations. Formal meetings had become shared meals. Professional curiosity had transformed into something deeper. Kim still remembered their first non-diplomatic touch, Nera showing him the traditional Lyrian greeting between friends, palms pressed together, fingers aligned. The spark he'd felt then had only grown stronger. "Tomorrow you will meet my family unit," Nera said, breaking the comfortable silence. Kim turned to her. "Is that allowed? I thought foreign visitors were restricted to diplomatic areas." "Special permission was granted," Nera replied. "My matriarch is curious about you." The next day, Kim found himself in a transport vehicle moving through the residential district of the Lyrian capital. The buildings here were more rounded than the public structures, resembling giant water-smoothed stones. "My family unit consists of 15 individuals," Nera explained. "The matriarch, my mother's mother, leads our household. My mother, her sister, and their cousins make up the senior circle. I have 2 sisters and 4 cousins in my generation." "And the males?" Kim asked. "My father lives with us, as do my uncles. But in our society, males don't have decision-making authority in family matters." The transport stopped before a sprawling compound surrounded by flowering trees. An older Lyrian woman waited at the entrance, her silver eyes sharp and evaluating. "Matriarch Tala," Nara said with a respectful bow. "This is Commander Kim of Earth." The matriarch studied Kim for an uncomfortably long moment before speaking. "Your presence honors our home, Earthman." The family meal that followed was unlike anything in Kim's diplomatic training. The food was served in communal dishes, with everyone using three-pronged utensils to take small portions. Conversation flowed freely, often in multiple directions at once. Kim noticed that while the Lyrian males participated in discussions, they deferred to the females for final opinions. When one of Nara's uncles expressed a particularly strong view about interplanetary relations, he first looked to the matriarch for approval to continue. After the meal, Matriarch Tala invited Kim to her private study. Nara accompanied them, standing slightly behind her grandmother. "Commander, do you understand why this cultural exchange matters so much to our people?" the matriarch asked directly. "I believe so," Kim replied. "Knowledge sharing benefits both our societies." The matriarch exchanged a look with Nara. "Tell him." Nara stepped forward. "My people face extinction, Kim. Not immediately, but eventually." "What? How?" Kim was shocked. The Lyrians appeared to be a thriving civilization. Nara activated a display panel on the wall. It showed genetic sequences and population statistics. "Our scientists have been searching for a solution for generations," Nara explained as they watched the twin moons rise through the study window. "Without genetic diversity, our population will continue to decline." The matriarch nodded solemnly. 3,000 years ago, our world suffered a terrible environmental disaster. Only a small portion of our population survived. We rebuilt, but from too few genetic lines. The effects weren't immediately apparent, Nara continued. But each generation, our fertility rates decrease. Genetic disorders increase. Without intervention, in approximately 12 generations, reproduction will become impossible. Kim processed this information slowly. "And you believe humans might help somehow? Your species adapted to diverse environments on your homeworld," the matriarch said. "Your genetic diversity is remarkable to us. There is potential." The implication hung in the air, unspoken but clear. Back at the diplomatic compound that evening, Kim contacted Earth for guidance. His superior, Admiral Jun, appeared on the secure channel. "This changes the mission parameters considerably, Commander," the Admiral said after hearing Kim's report. "Some factions here will see opportunity. Others will see danger. What should I do, sir?" "Continue building trust. Learn more. But be cautious. Personal involvement could cloud your judgment." Kim knew the Admiral was referring to his growing feelings for Nara. What had begun as diplomatic courtesy had evolved into genuine affection, and now something Kim was afraid to name. The following weeks brought new challenges. News of Kim's visit to the High Matriarch's household spread through Lyrian society. Most reactions were positive, curious, or hopeful. But not all. Kim first noticed the opposition when security around the diplomatic compound doubled without explanation. Then came the protest. A small group of Lyrians holding signs in their language outside the Earth Alliance offices. "What are they saying?" Kim asked Officer Park. "Species purity," Park translated uncomfortably. "Basically Lyrians for Lyrians." Nara was unusually quiet when they met that afternoon. They walked through the memorial gardens, a place commemorating the environmental disaster her people had survived. "The Unity Party issued a statement today," she finally said. "They oppose any genetic cooperation between our species." "Is that unusual?" Kim asked. "The Unity Party rarely takes positions on scientific matters. They are traditionalists who believe in Lyrian self-sufficiency. Until now, they've been a minor political faction. But this issue has given them a platform." Kim reached for her hand. "Does this change things between us?" Nara stopped walking and faced him. "It makes things more complicated, but also more important." "My feelings haven't changed, Kim." The moment was interrupted by Kim's communication device. "Commander, return to base immediately," came Officer Park's voice. "We've received intelligence about a potential security threat against you." As they hurried back, Nara suddenly pulled Kim into a shadowed alcove. Before he could question her, she pressed her lips against his. Their first kiss. The sensation was strange but wonderful, her skin slightly cooler than a human's, the connection electric. When they separated, Nara's silver eyes were intense. "Whatever happens, remember that not all Lyrians fear what we might become together." The security situation on Lyria had intensified over the past several weeks. The Unity Party's protests had grown from a handful of demonstrators to organized rallies. Kim now traveled with a security detail, 2 Earth Alliance officers and 2 Lyrian guards chosen by Matriarch Tala herself. Despite the tensions, the diplomatic mission continued. Earth had sent additional scientists to study the Lyrian genetic issues, and preliminary research showed promising possibilities for collaboration. Kim and Nara found fewer opportunities to be alone together. Their meetings were now officially scheduled and often included other personnel. But Nara had found ways to communicate privately. Small notes passed during formal gatherings, coded messages in scientific reports. Today's meeting was different. Matriarch Tala had arranged for them to return to the botanical gardens, declaring it a cultural exchange event of high importance. She had somehow convinced both Earth Alliance security and her own government to allow Kim and Nara 2 hours of private time, with guards stationed at a discreet distance. "Your grandmother is remarkably influential," Kim observed as they walked among the exotic plants. Nara smiled. She was the youngest matriarch ever chosen to lead our scientific council. Even now, few would openly oppose her wishes. They'd reached the center of the garden, where a small pool reflected the afternoon sky. Floating plants with luminescent blue flowers drifted across the water surface. "I've missed this," Kim said. "Just being with you without everyone watching and analyzing our every word." "They watch because they fear what they don't understand," Nara replied. "Or because they hope too much." Kim took her hand, feeling the now familiar difference in their anatomy. Her longer fingers, the extra joint, the slight temperature difference. What had once seemed alien now felt natural, right. "The research teams seem optimistic," he said. "Your scientists and ours are working well together." Nara's expression changed, becoming more serious. "The official research is important, but slow. There are other possibilities being discussed among my family's scientific circle." Something in her tone made Kim alert. "What kind of possibilities?" Instead of answering directly, Nara led him to a secluded alcove where a bench sat beneath arching plants with purple leaves. The spot was completely private, hidden from the garden paths. "Kim," she began, her voice soft but steady, "in these months together, we have learned much about each other. I believe we have developed feelings that transcend our biological differences." Kim nodded. "We have. At least I know I have. Among my people, when such feelings develop, we consider the future," Nara continued. She took both his hands in hers, her silver eyes with gold flecks looking directly into his. "Do you want to have children with me, human?" Kim froze. Of all the things he had prepared himself for in this diplomatic mission, this question had never entered his mind. His thoughts scattered like startled birds, unable to form a coherent response. Nara waited, patient but intent. I don't understand," he finally managed. "Biologically, how would that even be possible?" "Not through natural methods," Nara explained. "Our genetic scientists have developed techniques for combining DNA from different species. They believe human genetic material, specifically yours, combined with mine, could create viable embryos that would inherit the best qualities of both species." Kim's mind raced. "They want to create hybrids." "Not randomly," Nara said quickly. "The process would be carefully controlled. Any children would be genetically engineered to be healthy and stable. They would share our best traits, human adaptability and Lyrian perception." "How long have your scientists been planning this?" Kim asked, a hint of suspicion entering his voice. "The theory has existed for decades," Nara admitted. But the specific proposal involving you and me is more recent. After our connection became evident, the Genetic Council approached my grandmother. She insisted that the choice must be ours, yours and mine, with no pressure. Kim stood up and walked to the edge of the pool, needing space to think. The diplomatic implications alone were staggering. Earth had strict regulations about genetic engineering of humans. Creating hybrid offspring with an alien species would break numerous treaties and laws. Yet he couldn't deny the pull he felt toward Nara. In the months they'd spent together, she had become more than a diplomatic assignment, more than a friend. The idea of creating a family with her wasn't entirely unwelcome, just overwhelmingly complex. Nara approached him slowly. "This isn't just about us," she said softly. "It could be the beginning of a new future for both our peoples." Kim turned to face her. "But it is about us too. Any children would be our responsibility, our family." "Yes," Nara agreed. "They would be raised in my household, with the protection of my matriarch. But you would have equal rights as their father. And Earth. What role would my planet have in all this?" Nara hesitated. "That is something that would need to be negotiated at the highest levels. But imagine the possibilities, Kim. A new generation that bridges our worlds. Children who belong to both Earth and Lyria." Kim's training told him to step back, to consult with his superiors, to approach this as a diplomatic challenge. But his heart pulled him in another direction. The thought of children with Nara's silver eyes and his human resilience stirred something deep within him. "I need time," he finally said. "This is too important to decide quickly. There are ethical questions, diplomatic protocols, personal considerations." Nara nodded. "I understand. I have had longer to consider this possibility. Take the time you need." She reached up to touch his face, her cool fingers gentle against his skin. "But know this, whatever you decide, my feelings for you will not change." As they walked back toward the garden entrance, Kim's mind churned with questions. He would need to report this conversation to Earth Alliance headquarters, but how much should he share? Would they recall him immediately? Would they see opportunity or danger? And deeper than the diplomatic concerns ran personal ones. In his years of space service, Kim had never seriously considered fatherhood. Now he was contemplating becoming parent to a new form of life, children who would be the first of their kind, carrying the genetic heritage of two worlds. The guards came into view ahead, waiting patiently as instructed. "We have 1 week before the next secure transmission to Earth," Kim said quietly. "I'll have an answer for you by then." Nara's hand squeezed his briefly before they separated to appropriate diplomatic distance. 1 week, she agreed. Kim sat alone in his quarters, staring at the secure transmission screen. He had just finished briefing Admiral Jun about Nara's proposition. The Admiral's face had remained carefully neutral throughout, but his questions had been pointed. "You're certain this was a personal proposal, not an official request from the Lyrian government?" the Admiral had asked. Nara presented it as personal, Kim answered, but with the backing of her matriarch and their genetic council. Now Kim waited. The Admiral had promised to consult with Earth Alliance leadership and scientific advisors before responding. Kim expected to wait days, but the transmission indicator blinked again after only 4 hours. Admiral Jun appeared on screen, now accompanied by a woman Kim recognized, Dr. Han, Earth's foremost expert on xenobiology and genetics. Her presence made Kim sit straighter in his chair. "Commander Kim," the Admiral began, "we've analyzed your report and consulted with our scientific team. Dr. Han has some concerns she'd like to share with you." Dr. Han adjusted her glasses, a nervous habit Kim remembered from their brief meeting before his mission launch. "Commander, I've been studying the genetic data the Lyrians have shared with us," she said. At first, their explanation of genetic bottlenecking seemed reasonable. Their population does show concerning signs of limited diversity. "But," Kim prompted, sensing her hesitation, "but their request for specific DNA samples doesn't align with their stated goals. Dr. Han continued. They've asked for genetic material from military personnel with certain characteristics: enhanced reflexes, unusual stamina, stress resistance. You fit this profile perfectly. Kim felt a chill. What are you suggesting? The genetic samples they've requested contain specific markers, explained Dr. Han. They're not looking for diversity. They're looking for strength. Admiral June leaned forward. Our intelligence division has intercepted communications between certain Lyrian officials. There appears to be a faction within their government working on military applications for hybrid genetics. What kind of applications? Kim asked, though he feared he already knew the answer. Bioengineered soldiers, Dr. Han said bluntly. Combining Lyrian sensory capabilities with human physical advantages could create formidable warriors. The preliminary models suggest they could be stronger, faster, and more perceptive than either parent species. Kim felt the room spin slightly. He thought of Nara's earnest face as she proposed having children together. Had it all been manipulation? Is Nara involved? He asked, his voice tight. We don't know, Admiral June admitted. Her name doesn't appear in the communications we've intercepted, but her position in Lyrian society and her close connection to you makes her involvement highly probable. Kim stood up and paced the small room. What about Matriarch Tala? Dr. Han consulted a tablet. She's mentioned several times, but it's unclear which faction she supports. Lyrian politics are complex and their communication style is difficult to interpret with certainty. What are my orders? Kim asked, returning to face the screen. Admiral June's expression softened slightly. For now, maintain your position. Don't agree to their proposal, but don't reject it outright. We need more information. And Nara. Kim couldn't keep the emotion from his voice. Use your judgment, Commander, the Admiral said. But remember your primary loyalty. After the transmission ended, Kim sat in darkness for a long time. The week was nearly up. He had promised Nara an answer soon, but now everything was clouded with suspicion. The next morning, Kim requested an urgent meeting with the Lyrian Genetic Council. If there was a military program hidden within their proposal, he needed proof. To his surprise, the council agreed immediately. 3 hours later, Kim found himself in a pristine laboratory complex on the outskirts of the capital. 5 senior Lyrian scientists greeted him, all female, all with the distinctive silver eyes of their species. Commander Kim, the eldest said, I am Chief Scientist Mina. We are honored by your interest in our work. Kim nodded formally. Thank you for accommodating my request on short notice. I have questions about the genetic program involving human DNA. Chief Scientist Mina gestured toward a holographic display. Of course. Transparency is essential for collaboration. The display activated, showing complex genetic sequences. As Mina explained their research, Kim struggled to follow the technical details. He wished Dr. Han could be present to interpret. These marker sequences, Kim interrupted, pointing to a highlighted section. What are their functions? The scientists exchanged glances. Those enhance sensory processing, Mina explained. Combined with human genetic adaptability, they could produce offspring with exceptional perception. And these? Kim pointed to another section. A younger scientist stepped forward. Those relate to physical development, muscle density, bone structure, neural response time. Kim frowned. Military applications. Chief Scientist Mina's expression remained neutral. All genetic traits have multiple applications, Commander. A child with enhanced strength could excel at athletics or construction work. A child with superior neural responses might become a pilot or an artist. Or a soldier, Kim pressed. That would be one possibility among many, Mina acknowledged. Is there a specific concern you wish to address? Before Kim could respond, the laboratory door opened. Nara entered, followed by Matriarch Tala. Both appeared surprised to see him. Commander Kim, the matriarch said, I wasn't informed of your visit to our research facility. It was arranged directly with the Genetic Council. Kim replied, studying her reaction carefully. I see. The matriarch's silver eyes revealed nothing. And has your curiosity been satisfied? Not entirely, Kim said. I'm particularly interested in Project Vanguard. Perhaps you could explain its parameters. The room went completely still. Kim had dropped the code name from the intercepted communications, hoping for a reaction. He got one. Chief Scientist Mina's posture stiffened. Two of the other scientists quickly shut down the holographic display. Matriarch Tala's expression darkened. Only Nera looked genuinely confused. Project Vanguard, she repeated. I'm not familiar with that designation. It's classified, the matriarch said sharply. Commander Kim should not have that information. Kim kept his eyes on Nera. It's a military application for human Lyrian hybrid genetics, designed to create superior warriors. Nera's silver eyes widened in shock. That's not possible. Our research is focused on saving our species, not creating weapons. Enough, Matriarch Tala commanded. This discussion is over. Commander Kim, you will return to the diplomatic compound immediately. Guards appeared at the doorway. Kim realized he had miscalculated. Coming here alone had been dangerous. As he was escorted out, Nera caught his arm. Kim, I don't know what you've been told, but I would never deceive you. Not about this. Not about us. Looking into her eyes, Kim wanted desperately to believe her. But the evidence was mounting against the Lyrians' true intentions. Back at the compound, Kim found a message waiting on his secure terminal. It was from an anonymous source within the Lyrian government. Project Vanguard is real. The Unity Party opposes it, but we are outnumbered. Not all Lyrians support this path. Trust carefully. Watch for the silver rising. Kim stared at the cryptic message. What was the silver rising? And more importantly, was Nera telling the truth about her ignorance of the military program? Or was she the most skilled manipulator he had ever encountered? Kim waited in the shadows of the ancient temple ruins outside the capital. The message had been clear. Meet at midnight. Come alone. Stars glittered overhead in Lyria's purple-tinged sky as he checked his scanner for the third time. No surveillance devices detected. After his confrontation at the genetic laboratory, Kim had been effectively confined to the diplomatic compound. Official meetings continued, but Nera had been notably absent. His requests to see her had been politely declined with various excuses. Then yesterday, a coded message had appeared on his personal device. Silver rises at the old temple. Trust the tears. It had to be connected to the earlier warning about the silver rising. A slight movement caught his attention. A hooded figure approached from the east path. Identify yourself, Kim called softly, hand moving to his concealed weapon. The figure lowered their hood. Silver eyes gleamed in the moonlight. Nara, Kim breathed. She rushed forward, embracing him tightly. We don't have much time. The security protocols will detect my absence soon. Kim held her at arm's length. I need answers, Nera. The truth about Project Vanguard. About us. Nera's eyes filled with tears, shimmering like liquid silver in the moonlight. I've been trying to warn you without endangering my people, she whispered. I'm part of a resistance movement opposed to the militaristic faction. Kim studied her face, looking for deception. Explain. The genetic crisis is real, Nera said urgently. But there are two factions with different solutions. The Science Council, led by my grandmother, wants peaceful genetic exchange with humans to save our species. The Military Council sees an opportunity to create hybrid warriors to extend Lyrian influence across the sector. And you? Kim asked. Where do you stand? With my grandmother. With peace. Nara touched his face gently. With you. My feelings were never part of any deception. Kim. The proposal to have children was genuine, she insisted. But the Military Council has been monitoring us, manipulating circumstances. They saw our connection as an opportunity. Kim's mind raced, fitting pieces together. The anonymous message I received. Silver rising. Our resistance signal, Nara confirmed. We wear silver armbands under our clothing. When we reveal them, it means we're ready to act. What exactly is the military planning? Nara glanced nervously toward the city. They've already created prototype embryos using genetic material from both species. They harvested your DNA during your initial medical screening upon arrival. Kim felt violated. Without consent. Yes, the first generation of hybrid children is already developing in their laboratories. They'll be born in 4 months, raised as loyal soldiers for Lyria's expansion. How do we stop this? Kim demanded. I have evidence, Nara said, producing a small data crystal. Complete plans, genetic sequences, military strategies. My grandmother and I have been gathering it for months. We need to expose both governments to what's happening. Kim took the crystal. This could lead to war between our worlds. Or prevent one, Nara countered. If we act now, before the hybrid children are born, before either side becomes too invested in this path. A distant alarm sounded from the city. Nara tensed. They've discovered I'm missing. We need to move quickly. Together they formulated a plan. Kim would transmit the evidence to Earth Alliance headquarters. Nara would return to the city and help her grandmother rally support among the Science Council members. They would coordinate their revelations to occur simultaneously, preventing either government from covering up the truth. If this works, Kim said, what happens to us? Nara's silver eyes met his. That depends on whether you still want there to be an us. Kim pulled her close. I do, but no more secrets between us. No more secrets, she promised. 3 hectic days followed. Earth Alliance headquarters responded with swift action, sending a diplomatic delegation led by Admiral Jun himself. The Lyrian government initially denied the allegations, but faced with evidence from both Matriarch Tala's faction and Earth's intelligence services, they were forced to acknowledge the secret military program. The military council members were removed from power. The embryos created without consent were a more delicate issue, both ethically and diplomatically. After intense debate, they were placed in stasis until a joint Earth-Lyrian ethics committee could determine their fate. 2 months later, Kim stood with Nara on the observation deck of the newly established Joint Species Research Center. Below them, Lyrian and human scientists worked together openly, studying genetic solutions that would benefit both species. Your grandmother was appointed head of the new Science Council, Kim noted. Nara nodded proudly. And the Unity Party has joined our coalition. They've realized that cooperation doesn't have to mean losing our identity. What about the military hardliners? Kim asked. Some fled to the outer colonies, Nara admitted. They may try again someday, but now both our governments are watching for such threats. Kim turned to face her. And us. My assignment here is ending next month. Nara took his hands in hers. I've been offered a position as scientific liaison to Earth. If you're willing, I could go with you. Kim smiled. I'd like that. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the twin moons rise over the horizon. After everything they'd been through, simply being together felt like a victory. Kim, Nara said softly, do you want to have children with me, human? The question was the same as before, but everything about it was different. This time, it came not from political necessity or hidden agendas, but from love. Kim smiled, his answer no longer frozen in uncertainty. Yes, he said simply. When we're ready, I'd like to start a family with you. We would need to use genetic science, Nara reminded him. But this time with full transparency, full consent, and full love, Kim added. As the moons climbed higher in the alien sky, they discussed their future, a home that might combine elements of both their worlds, children who would carry the heritage of 2 planets, challenges they would face from those who still feared difference. Later that evening, they attended a formal reception celebrating the new research alliance. Earth diplomats mingled with Lyrian scientists. Admiral Jun raised a glass in toast. To new beginnings, he said, and to those brave enough to forge them. Across the room, Matriarch Tala caught Kim's eye and nodded slightly, a gesture of respect and acceptance. Beside him, Neris squeezed his hand. New beginnings, she echoed. Kim thought of all that had brought them to this moment. Diplomatic missions and secret plots, genetic crises and military schemes, personal courage and interspecies love. What had started with a proposition had become something far more meaningful, a future neither of them could have imagined alone. To us, he whispered, for her ears only, and to whatever we become together.